If you cannot celebrate that a dictator, a murderer, a torturer is today in an American prison, you're a bad person. As simple as that. No, like for real. If you cannot celebrate this, then you're a bad person. As simple as that. We don't care. I don't wake up in Venezuela and come somebody, hey, here is your daily barrel of oil, you can sell it. Nobody in Venezuela from a long time has enjoyed any of the profits of the oil or of the gold or of the any resources in Venezuela. So we legitimately don't care. These people are criminals. But the problem in Venezuela is that also the police are criminals and the army are criminals.
Omar Rondon, eða Omar Rondon, það rétt hjá mér?
Já, Omar Rondon fínt bara.
Omar Rondon, hvað segirðu?
Mjög fínt, þú?
Ég bara res. Nei, heyrðu, við ætlum að taka ensku með þér, hvað er ég að segja? Omar Rondon, welcome.
Takk, thank you.
How are you?
I'm very good,
nice.
Very happy.
We're gonna be conducting this interview in English, although you speak very good Icelandic. But since we're gonna be talking about a difficult topic, we're gonna make it a little bit more comfortable for you, and we're gonna conduct this in English. So, for our listeners, how would you describe yourself? What is your story?
Well, my name is Omar Rondon. I have 31 years old, and I come from Venezuela. I moved here in November 2019. I came as a refugee, as I will think the majority of the almost 3,000 Venezuelans that are here. I myself maybe was not so affected by the situation in Venezuela back on the time, because, you know, it's not a big country, but it's very centralized. A lot of the things that happen just in the capital. Like, for example, right now, all that is going on is in the capital, and the rest of the country, the countryside, is maybe not so affected.
So where are you from?
I'm from
originally?
Mérida. It's in Los Andes. So that's the joke that everybody makes to me, that it's the weather here is not like in Venezuela. I like colds. I prefer the colds. But yeah, as I was saying, like, thanks to that, maybe many of the worst parts of the crisis didn't get to hit me personally, but definitely it hit the majority of the population, and I don't think anyone in Venezuela avoided the situation, even the wealthy people, even the poor people. Everybody was affected by all the crisis going on, and well, that ended dragging me here. Thanks to my former girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend. She had this plan to come here and work it out well for her. So I came after.
When was this?
This was November 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very grateful because everything was quite fast. I was actually, for me, this was like a fairy tale when people told me about coming to Iceland. Because in all the countries they started to shut the doors to us. They didn't want us because almost 1 million Venezuelans left the country in just the last 10 years. So coming here and see this reality was very surprising. I unfortunately moved, and short after, as soon as all my paperwork was done and everything was in order, came COVID. Mm-hmm. So my start in Iceland was maybe not the best, but that gave me the chance to maybe, when you come as any foreigner, especially as a refugee, you sometimes think you cannot, do more than, clean toilets or work in a restaurant or whatever. And that's at least the reality for a lot of people I know from Venezuela. Luckily, because of COVID, I got to know wonderful people, and they helped me to find a place where I'm very happy, and I work as a art teacher and non-formal educator in a social center, and that's good. I'm an artist myself. I have education as a visual artist, project manager, and so on.
Mm-hmm. But so here in Iceland, this the recent story is pretty much that Icelanders have become a little bit more torn about the issue of immigration, and recently we closed our borders to applications from Venezuela. You say, are there still 3,000 people, or is that the number that has come?
Uh, I mean, I know at least with resident permit until not so long ago was about 2,000, but I know was so much people between appealing decisions or waiting for decisions and stuff. So I will say 3,000 is maybe a optimistic, average. But at least for sure, I think 2,000 should be in the country.
Yeah, and the recent development will probably have considerable amount of impact onto these applications. But so before we get into the story of Venezuela and the recent development, I want to finish up a little bit with you coming to Iceland. Because we heard here in Iceland that people from Venezuela were seeing a lot of advertisement that the people ought to come to Iceland and that it would be really easy and you could get free healthcare, free education, free everything. How did it come about that your girlfriend and yourself saw the opportunity to get to Iceland?
This is actually something that is a little bit contradictory because I do understand a lot of the reasoning behind making things harder for us, because I recognize that when I lived in Venezuela and you hear about Iceland, or when I just come here before COVID, that maybe things were a little bit better. Right now are just starting to go up. You come to Iceland and you just think, yeah, everybody here has a great life, everybody's rich, it's money for everybody. I feel most of everybody that comes here as a refugee or because they hear life is so good or the salaries are so high, we come here thinking it's the perfect place. And when you come from a country where the institutions are so destroyed as mine, you come here and it's wonderland, But it takes very little time to see all the things in our system that are maybe not where they should be, either with the schools, with the hospital, with so many things, the roads now. So, I mean, I understand that for anybody coming from Venezuela or from Palestine or from Afghanistan, or you come here following a dream and wondering that, yeah, this is maybe the magical land where everything is perfect, but it's not. So I'm also a very firm believer that first we need to help to our country, to our children, to our society, and then we can start taking care of the others. So again, it takes little time here to see all the things going on. When I had here only about 6 months or 1 year, it started to be very popular, these advertisements, you say. Actually was a travel agency in Venezuela that offered trips to here, and was also a lot of people into the system of being a refugee, that maybe they couldn't find a job because of COVID, and for all the people that come in 2019, 2020 and so on, moving here was so hard, including me, because was a couple months without a job, was no opportunities. So even same Venezuelans were making this, let's say, clandestine network of, yeah, let's, hey, you want to come here to Iceland? Yeah, everybody that comes to Iceland is welcome. You should come, like, I will help you. And then maybe they charge somebody some money and they help to, I don't know, figure out the trip. Also, like these own travel agencies, they offer this idea and this concept of coming here to apply for protection or asylum. We all call asylum, but nobody really gets asylum here, just international protection due humanitarian reasons. So I understand why so much people or a big sector of the population is against us or against how many of us came here. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I need to say that, like, I also came here because I hear about this fairy tale, and my girlfriend came first because she had a friend here, and everything was true. Like, after a few weeks she had a house, they were helping her with money from the municipality, and I also was part of this. Like, again, I'm not better than any other. But since then, I think me, and I will say most of us, I will say the 99.9% of every Venezuelan that I know, and I had met a lot because I work and live in Reykjanesbæ, and I have met a lot of people that came here new in the country in the last 5 years. So I have seen how most of the people, at least from my country, we come here to work and to find a new opportunity, and we were so accustomed to have a good quality of life that's what we pursued. You will. It's very strange that you find a Venezuelan that just get enough to stay home, getting money from the municipality or something, because we like to have a good car, a good house, eating good restaurants, stuff like that, because it's the life we used to have.
Hlaðvarpið er í samstarfi við heitirpottar.is, hvort sem þið vantar saltvatnspott, hitaveitupott, kaldan pott, sánuklefa eða hvað eina í heita pottinn, þá ferð þú inn á heitirpottar.is og lætur græja þig. Þjónusta og uppsetningum all land, og nú er jafnvel hægt að fá sér smíðaðan sánuklefa, þar sem að þú færð sánuna nákvæmlega eins og þú vilt hafa hana. Það er ekki hægt að setja verðmiða á heilsuna eða samverustund með fjölskyldunni, og því er mikilvægt að huga að báðu, og það er nákvæmlega það sem að heitirpottar.is auðvelda þér að gera. Hvort sem þú ert að endurnýja gamla pottinn eða gera þetta frá grunni, þá getur þú sendt skilaboð á netinu eða bara einfaldlega kíkt í verslunina að Fossalsi 13, en þar er opið alla virka daga milli 10 og 17 og á laugardögum milli 10 og 14. Ekki drolla við þetta, þú veist að þið langar í heitan pott og sánu heimtíðin, heitirpottar.is græja þetta fyrir þig. Yeah, you've done your part at least with learning the language. I was...
Já, ég tala mjög gott
Já,
íslensku.
þú tala bara mjög fín íslensku.
Ég má segja til alla fólki sem að hlusta, ég tala gott íslensku, ég reyna að æfa svo mikið alla dagana. Ég bara pínu feimin með myndavélar, ég ljósmyndari sjálfur, og svo þetta líka svo erfitt topic að tala landinu mínu.
Við getum örugglega bara skota, því að ég held að flestir sem eru að fara að hlusta á þetta, við getum bara að tekið það upp á íslensku, svo getum við bara skiptið yfir á ensku. Ég held að það mun ekkert flækjast fyrir okkur, sko. En hérna, prófum bara aðeins að reynum á þetta á íslensku. Svona, þegar að förum yfir í Venezuela og það sem er búið að gerast. Svona fyrst þegar að þetta á sér stað, þegar að þú sérð fréttinar það að Bandaríkjamenn sem höfðu verið að hóta en létu verða af, hvað var svona þitt fyrsta viðbragð? Svona first reaction?
Já. Þannig kemur fyrir orðið. Svo fyrir mér betra að breyta til ensku. When I wake up and I see everything that is going on, I immediately thought like, this is fake. This is another stage lie of the government, because it's not the first time. They have simulate drone attacks, invasions,
cyber attacks,
like everything. Everything. So I think the first bombing was in the port of La Guaira, like a very important port in Venezuela, and I was like, come on. And then like came another, and then was a video that did somebody that was camping in the mountains, and you could see like, and I mean, this looked so staged.
Yeah, it looked like an AI video.
Yeah. So I didn't believe a word. I was, of course, I immediately turned on the TV. Was with my phone, like by how I was already with 20% battery or something, because I was like, I also tried to talk with some friends that live in Europe and that live here. Have you seen this? And, this is staged. Like, it's no chances. And then when we saw the announcement from Donald Trump, was like, this cannot be real. So I still today, I don't fully buy.
Oh, you're still pessimistic?
Nay, I do believe maybe the Americans are capable to do such a clean job. But I also think the government could have pacted this with America, make it a win-win, where they, okay, we give you Maduro, you can show off your army and how effective you are and how incredible you are, because if you see all the data that we have of the attack, they were using the best of the best. Like the Night Stalkers did this with the best helicopters they have, where the F-22 Raptors, that is the best flight, how you say, air-to-air airplanes they have. They have the F-35. They bring everything. I think 150 or something planes. So, I mean, can this work be this clean, really? I still have a lot of doubts, and I know most of Venezuelans still have a lot of doubts. I guess just the time will say.
Yeah, time will tell. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was an extraordinary job, but your initial reaction was that you were happy, and a lot of Venezuelans were happy. It was quite an interesting thing to watch, especially here in Iceland and also further in the West, that a lot of Icelandic people were angry with this. Of course, put into context with Greenland, because what will the Americans do next, etc. But I was always torn, because it was interesting to watch, and I actually posted about this, and I said something along the lines of, well, I'm still waiting for some Venezuelan to be angry about this decision, because I cannot find one.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can find videos of one-on-one, but for the most part, Venezuelans were quite happy with these developments. So I was like torn between, well, he's violating international law, but still we might be a little bit happy with the things that are happening due to the reasons, like all the Venezuelans are happy with this. But to get like a little bit of a like broader picture, because I don't know if this is my feed, you know, this like with social media, you never know what the real truth is. But if you would like have to shoot on a percentage, where does the pointer lie? Is it like 95% of Venezuelans that are happy with this decision? Is it like more 60-40? Is it like 50-50? What do you think?
Well, we don't have official...
No, I know.
We don't have official numbers, because in 2024, when we had our last elections, the government won. They say it was a massive victory, but they never could show proofs. They never allow international organizations to oversee anything of this, and it's not really a number. But what the statistics say is that about 70% of Venezuelans in age to vote, so 18 or more, are against the government. To this 70% of Venezuelans, we need to add everybody that is abroad and everybody that has to left. There are almost 1 million Venezuelans, that statistics say.
A third of the country.
Yes. So I'm not saying is nobody that is angry about this. Probably they are. There are many news outlets and stuff covering the protests in Caracas and around the world. But you cannot deny the big majority is happy because of this. And
do you have any relatives back home that?
Everybody.
And everybody was happy with this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like the problem with this is like no side is completely right, or it's not a good guy and a bad guy. Like, do we see this that happened as something somehow negative? Yes, nobody wants that any other nation and nobody, especially such a character as Trump, start to take control on your business or in your country. But come on, we have been 26 years waiting for something. And I do understand that...
And tried quite a lot.
Yeah, we try a lot. Like, I can understand people that come and say, yeah, the international laws and But what I say on a interview to Morgunblaðið. Like, when the laws we created to protect humanity fail to the humanity itself, what can be done? What is more important, the laws that we created or the humanity? And sadly, all the United Nations, the International Court, like everything, failed to Venezuela. It's thousands and thousands of reports of torture, of violations to the human rights by Venezuela government, and they never reached any port, you know. So my real issue with, you know, all this going on, the people trying to somehow show this as something bad or something wrong, is because where were they when we were asking for help? We've been asking for help at least for 11 years. Like in 2014, I think, died Chavez, the former president. And then was when everything, you know, crashed. Because he been as bad or as good as people want to remember him, he at least knew what he was doing. Then come Maduro, and he's like, everybody knows he's more like a decoy or a guinea pig than a real ruler. So, I mean, it's so complicated to try to be in peace, but seeing people, no, this is illegal, you should have not done this. You know what is illegal? That you order the army of your own country to kill the citizens. That you order a soldier to walk a tank over a person that is pacifically protesting against the government. It's illegal that you send in WhatsApp or whatever a message, the government, they suck, and you can go to jail for that. That is a violation to the human rights. Was one person that was arguing with me online saying like, how can you be happy with a child molester and stuff, talking about Trump. And it's like, do you want to talk about violations to children's rights and crimes against children? Like, see how many children are growing apart of their families. My children. She met my mom because I had the money to bring her here. But she had not met my dad. She had not met my grandfathers. She had not met none of her family. And that is unfair. It's unfair that my Icelandic partner doesn't know anything about my life there. And it's not because we cannot go. It's because we cannot go because of the resources. Like, we cannot go because of the situation there. Mm-hmm. So that for me is a bigger crime than whatever other thing the people is trying to defend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to gain a little bit of a broader picture of the situation when you left compared to the situation when, not currently, but in recent history from COVID. And of course, we know that Maduro was violating the laws in all sorts of ways. He was a dictator that wanted to impersonate Hugo Chavez, but some people say that he wasn't capable, and although he was foreign minister, he was just Hugo Chavez's puppet, and he kept being the puppet of his master, although his master had gone. But I wonder, the situation in 2019 when you left, how was that compared to maybe 2024?
Mm-hmm. I can tell you by facts that Venezuela evolves very fast. And I can tell you I live 26 years there, and I don't think was 5 years or 4 years of the same situation. So it changed constantly. I definitely can tell you that we had a very big crisis, humanitarian and human crisis in 2017 and 2018. We faced a period where the inflation statistics says was about 1,000,000% in 1 year. Official statistics by the government say it was 136,000. So no matter how you see it, something I know is that with the
Still
money,
unsustainable.
of something I know is that with the money you can afford an apartment on January, you cannot buy a beer in December. And this impacted the young people and the working people because, of course, like your salary plummeted, like everything went bad. But this affected massively to the old people because my grandparents, they saved it. They were not, let's say, employees. They had their businesses and stuff. They saved enough money for their retirement and they were living off their savings. And from a day to another, they lost everything. Like this period, 2017-18, was particularly the economical crisis that affected everyone because simply everybody lost their money. And again, this mainly affected my grandfather, for example, because he worked all his life so hard and he helped us to all so much. He was a good person. And one day he had to meet with my mom and all his siblings and say, hey, with this last grocery shopping I did, I finished all the last penny I had.
Mm-hmm.
For me to keep surviving and your mom, like his wife, guys, you need to help me. Like I cannot imagine for a 80-something years old man that worked all his life that never got anything from anyone to come and say to his children, I don't have how to afford food tomorrow.
No, and I think this is something that people have a hard time grasping, especially if you're living in Iceland and with a relatively better economy, at least, because the government, of course, especially with the purchasing power of oil, using dollars to, and people with links to the government and people who had availability to some relative and or other persons who were working in the government, if you were able to get a hand on some dollars, you could actually sell them for a lot more on a black market, and that kept going on. People were purchasing things and even creating bogus invoices with the imports, and that actually created a lot of inflation, which actually created the circumstances which are real, that you could buy an apartment for a certain amount of bolivars, but at the end of the year you could not even purchase a beer, which of course leads to collapse, which actually happened. But now, because I've seen you arguing with people on the internet, Solveig Anna, for instance, and other people that are saying that this was a very, bad decision, to say the least, and violates the law and is actually created by the US government in a bigger scheme. Venezuela is not a random target. It's a target due to the oil. And they would say, well, here comes the gullible Venezuelan who just says that the circumstances were terrible, but is looking through such a tight lens that he can't see the broader picture, and says that, well, the U.S. government created economic sanctions against Venezuela. That is the reason why things starting to collapse. How would you answer such a criticism, that you're just a gullible Venezuelan that just pushes all the criticism towards his own government, when the U.S., which now has completed just overthrowing the government, was the real reason for the economic collapse of Venezuela?
I will correct you with one word. The U.S. has not overthrown the government at all. Just throw the head, perhaps. Allegedly the head. But your question is perfect because it just continue with, let's say, the timeline where we were. So after this huge inflation came, it dragged to the fact that government tried to control the inflation by putting prices. So chicken cannot cost more than...
Price controls.
Yeah. Cannot cost more than 2 bolivars. And pasta cannot cost more than 1 bolívar and bread cannot cost more than 50 cents.
Að kaupa og skipta dekk hefur aldrei verið einfaldara. Drífa.is í samstarfi við fjölda dekkjaverkstæða og alhliða lausn þar sem að þú getur flett upp þínum bíl með því að skrá inn bílnúmerið og keypt dekk í þeim verðflokki sem hentar þínum bíl best. Nú ef þú ert í vafa dekkjastærðir þá getur þú einnig tekið mynd af dekkjunum þar sem að vefþjónustan staðfestir þetta allt við þig. Þetta kann að hljóma of einfalt til að vera satt en svona þetta nú samt. Einnig boðið upp á sérþjónustu þar sem að dekkjabíllinn kemur upp á dyrum, umfelgar, skiptir dekk og hann jafnvægir stilltur á staðnum. Eins og ég segi þá hefur þetta aldrei verið einfaldara og nú tíminn eins og við vitum öll. Skelltu þér inn á drífa.is og fundu bestu dekkjaþjónustuna sem hentar þér. Hlaðvarpið í samstarfi við fyrirtæki sem að veita úrvalsþjónustu og eitt af þeim alvöru bón. Við skulum bara vera hreinskilin, ef þér þykir vænt bíliðinn þá læturðu gera þetta almennilega og það nákvæmlega sem alvöru bón gerir. Fer með bíliðinn, hvort sem það eru alþrif, djúphreinsun, mössun eða hvað eina, þá skellur þér á alvöru bón og lætur degra við bíliðinn. Farðu inn á vefsíðuna og tryggðu þér 10 tíma klippikort, þá þarftu bara ekkert að vera að pæla í þessu. Alvöru bón, kíkið á þetta, þið verðið ekki fyrir vonbrigðum.
So what happened is that of course for any company, for any entrepreneur, for nobody was made the numbers to sell anything. So this dragged us to the big humanitarian crisis that was the lack of food, medicines, basically any product, like for real. I'm not saying this because I read it, I'm not saying this because I hear it, I'm saying this because it happened to me in the streets. Was people that can offer you, I can give you a bag of cocaine or a bag of marijuana or whatever in exchange of a bread, because it was easier to find drugs than food. And then this situation, of course, dragged us for a long period of uncertainty and probably was the hardest part. And I think the thing that makes everybody the most afraid of all the situation is that we know that in order to really be a change in the government, maybe some other hard times like this need to come back. I think most of the people knows this. So the celebration is not, throwing balloons and stuff, but like we're happy, but we're also worried. So what came after this situation is in 2018 was a huge blackout in the whole country. Many areas of the country, including my city, were without electricity for 1 week. And what this made is that as the currency, the refugee, like the cash, lost so much value, you had to be with bags, with bills around you if you wanted to do anything, and was not sustainable. So when this blackout happened, all the posa, I don't know the name in English, stopped working. So how do you buy anything, or how do you? So a lot of people started to trade stuff, but the easiest way was just using foreign currency. So because of this blackout of 1 week, most of the population decided, hey, I just need to use my dollars that I have saving, or my euros, or my Colombian pesos. And suddenly all the market after this blackout turned to be in dollars or in Colombian pesos if you are near to the border. So the government used this situation, or say it in a way, to just legalize or to transform the economy of Venezuela to dollars. So the good part is that came with a little bit of control in the prices and with some stability in the economy. I will say that 2018 and 2019, when before me coming here, you certainly could see an improvement on the situation. Also, the border with Colombia that used to be closed was open again. So people could start going to Colombia, pay like to smugglers or something to help you to go through. You go to the other side, or maybe you can just do it in the regular way with the militaries of Venezuela. That sometimes for you was better to deal with the smugglers from Colombia or drug traffickers from Colombia than with the army of Venezuela. You definitely fear them more. And this alleviated the situation a lot. So everything started to be good. And then since then, of course, came COVID and was another hit. But now basically the economy in Venezuela is in a weird stability because of the use of the dollar as the currency. But you can also see that the people just got tired of waiting for someone to come to save us. And people just decided, hey, I know I don't like you, I don't like what you do, but just let me work, I will work and I will be in peace. So somehow like the people just started to try to rebuild the economy. However, COVID of course come and was quite harsh because we didn't have any quarantine or anything in Venezuela. Like people there had to go to work because if you don't work in Venezuela, you don't eat. So everybody need to keep going, keep attending. This was mainly an issue for the children because they couldn't go to school, or for young people that was in the university, etc. But then that's why I say it's so hard when you see people saying all these things like, this is illegal and you should not be happy about this and they just want your oil. Of course. Like, is now America NGO or what?
Yeah, and you can see that.
Of course, they need something. I think Trump come today or yesterday saying Venezuela is going to pay him 15 million barrels or something. Now, people can say, yeah, they want the oil. But we don't care. I don't wake up in Venezuela and come somebody, hey, here is your daily barrel of oil. You can sell it. Nobody in Venezuela from a long time has enjoyed any of the profits of the oil or of the gold or of the any resources in Venezuela. So we legitimately don't care. Because for me or for my mom or for whatever person in Venezuela, it's the same if the oil goes to Bandarikin or goes to China. Mm-hmm. It's going out of our hands.
You just want a better living standard.
Yes, the difference is that at least we hope like our relationship with Venezuela has been with Bandarikin, with the United States, has been for over a century. Like, United States has always been like the big brother of Venezuela. The interventions of United States with Venezuela started in the early 1900s when Venezuela was a very poor country, very rural country. We were in a big debt with Europe, with countries like United Kingdom and so on. And they send an army to the Navy and stuff to try to seize production from Venezuela, like from the fishermen and stuff. And then United States, using this that we are listening lately of the Monroe, what's it called?
Mm-hmm. Monroe Pact.
Yeah, they started to use this to, we need to protect America from the colonization and stuff. So
they say that it's in the sphere of influence of America, and hence they are able and of course capable to use military force if an adversary army such as China, Russian or others are impacting the Western Hemisphere, which they claim that is theirs. Yeah.
Since then, like, America helped us with this situation. They negotiate with these countries in Europe. We were in a huge debt, like a payment plan, and they say like, hey, they will figure it out. Just don't attack them because then we will attack you. Mm-hmm. So that was perhaps one of the biggest moments where United States become our ally, and then was not long until they started to send people and they found the oil, and all the oil industry is built by them and belonged to them for 80 years or 70 years. So, you know, the weird thing is now that has given to others.
Yes, and that is an infrastructure that has been deteriorating under both Hugo Chavez and Maduro, and also because the blackout that you mentioned was also, of course, a big turning point for the economy, where things started to go south. but no pun intended with this, saying that it went south. Hlaðvarpið er í samstarfi við fyrirtæki sem hafa sett svip sinn á íslenska menningu og eitt þeirra eru bæjarins bestu pylsur. Ég og þú vitum alveg að þegar við fáum okkur pylsu sem er ekki frá bæjarins bestu þá vildum við að svo væri. Það segir það í orðinu, þetta eru bæjarins bestu pylsur. Þið vitið það, ég veit það, skellið þessu hlaðvarpi í eyrun, farið á næsta sölustað og kaupið ykkur tvíhleypu ásamt einhverju góðu að drekka. Að kaupa eða selja húsnæði er ein stærsta ákvörðun lífsins. Þess vegna skiptir máli að hafa ekki bara sölumann heldur ráðgjafa þér við hlið. Hlaðvarpið fjallar mikið húsnæðismál og því er það í samstarfi við þá færustu í geiranum hjá fasteignasölunni Pálsson. Pálsson fasteignasala leggur áherslu á persónulega þjónustu, fagmennsku og gagnsæi. Notast er við sérstaka ferla sem að tryggja það að bæði kaupendur og seljendur vita upp á hár hvernig að þessu er staðið. Allt frá undirbúningi myndatöku til loka sölunar. Boðið upp á fría ráðgjöf og verkfæri eins og eignavakt.is sem sér til þess að þú missir aldrei af réttu eigninni og verðmat.is sem hjálpa þér að taka upplýsta ákvörðun verð. Heimsæktu pálssonfasteignasala.is og fáðu þína persónulegu ráðgjöf strax í dag. I'm wondering because I think, especially for our Icelandic listeners, which are the majority of course, I think they're very keen on knowing, because like I mentioned in the beginning, I was I'm hesitant claiming that is the majority view, that this was a successful attack and this was a positive thing for Venezuela. But given your experience of Venezuelans, do you think that this view that you are proclaiming here, that this is a positive thing, we don't care about the oil, we just want better living standards, if Trump can provide infrastructure for the oil that just doubles the benefits, it's a win-win. Is that the view of the majority of Venezuelans?
Definitely. And I think should be the view of the majority of people in the world, because I will be very direct with you. If you cannot celebrate that a dictator, a murderer, a torturer is today in an American prison, you're a bad person. As simple as that. No, like for real. If you cannot celebrate this, then you're a bad person. As simple as that. So, of course, now is coming very hard times, because this is not necessarily good for the people in Venezuela, because now the beast is injured, and where animals are injured is when they are more dangerous. So you can see that now in Caracas mainly is starting a lot of oppression from the police and from army collectives. The colectivos or collectives is like basically what the government made is like to the people in the poor neighborhoods, the ghettos, the favelas, whatever you want to call it. They say like, hey, you could either be and go to a bus and steal a phone or a shoe from somebody and live like this, or you can become organized, protect us, protect everybody in the system, and you will have benefits with the government. We will be your allies. We will have you to find food. We will have you to find money. So now is this big, let's say, criminal organization made by them with that people that used to be the, daily thefts and stuff. And now they are in control of a lot of places in Venezuela. And they are just regular people that is very well armed, and they now have control of everything. They can stop you and say, hey, give me your phone. You will not give your phone to somebody that is shooting you with a rifle like this. Of course, you give it, and then they check your WhatsApp or whatever message system you use, and then you send to somebody a video about how cool Maduro is in jail. They will send you to prison or try to extort you and take money out of you.
So these collectives are not part of the government, but they are like a
not
militia, military, like such as we have in Colombia, or
no. They are not like paramilitaries or guerrilla. They are just like a muscle force. It's literally.
Is it used by the government?
Yeah, it's literally this. I told you, like they took criminals that were living of stealing other people or killing other people, and they just say like, hey, organize each other, have a leader or have a whatever. you will take care of this sector of the city and everything needs to be good. If it's somebody like, doing a lot of mess against the government and stuff, you will let us know. You will control the situation. So it's basically like a informal guard that the government has. But we cannot forget these people are criminals. But the problem in Venezuela is that also the police are criminals and the army are criminals and everybody are criminals. We are like my friend, my very close friend, not so long ago, he was just like driving and a policeman stopped him and saw that he had like some messages about sending some money like in foreign currency. I said, so you have money. You know what? You need to give me $1,000 now. And my friend was like, I don't have them. I said, then you're going to jail. And my friend was like, why? Because you are with drugs. I don't have any drugs. That's not my problem. I can appear the drugs, So my friend had to loan money and figure it out. And this is what everybody faces in Venezuela. And today can happen to you, tomorrow can happen to your sister, tomorrow can happen to anybody. And that's why all the situation in Venezuela is so complicated because, as I said, like now the beast is injured. It will attack you harder. And you don't know what is coming next. You don't know what of all you hear is true. You don't know what all of you saw is real. So it's a moment of very big uncertainty. And I truly feel bad because people still need to go out and work. People need still to go out and make their lives. I was so impressed. Like the day of the attack, supermarkets had to open because people was making queues to buy food.
Hlaðvarpið í samstarfi við fiskhúsið.is. Fiskhúsið.is heildverslun fyrir veitingamenn sem vilja það ferskasta og það besta fyrir sína kúnna. Hvort sem það fyrir veitingareksturinn, hótelreksturinn, mötuneytið eða hvað annað, þá ferðu inn á fiskhúsið.is til að sjá það gríðarlega úrval sem að strákarnir hafa upp á að bjóða. Ef að þú vilt hið ferskasta og hið besta, þá gerir þetta sjálfsögðu almennilega, ferðin á fiskhúsið.is. Það ekki til sú spurning sem að strákarnir hafa ekki svarið við, þannig enn og aftur fiskhúsið.is til að fá ferskasta og besta fiskinn á landinu. Hlaðvarpið í samstarfi við Happy Hydrate. Steinefni eru orðin mikilvægur þáttur í mínu lífi og ég ekki einu svona að grínast, ég að nota þessar vörur í alvörinu. Það ástæða fyrir því að þessir kassar hérna eru tómir. Nýjungarnar og framþróunin hjá Happy Hydrate hreint út sagt frábær. Kreatín samhliða steinefnunum, eitthvað sem að þeir bjóða upp á og ég nota að staðaldri. Eftir að ég byrjaði að nota þessar frábæru vörur að þá líður mér einfaldlega betur. Ég kem meiri verk og dagurinn verður betri. Dagskammtur af nauðsynlegu vítamínum, engin gervisykur og þú færð þetta í rauninni hvar sem að þú verslar. Þú verður ekki fyrir vonbrigðum ef þú prófar þetta og ég mæli með að þú gerir það strax í dag. Hlaðvarpið í samstarfi við stöndu og mikilvæg fyrirtæki og eitt af því Polsen. Polsen.is til þess að skera hvað eina, hvort sem þú þarft að fara í bílrúðu skipti eða einfaldlega bílrúðu viðgerð, þá ferðu inn á Polsen.is. Ef það stjarna í framrúðinni þá bara bókaru tíma á heimasíðunni, ferð með hann og hann tilbúinn samdægurs. Ekki vera með stjörnu í bílrúðinni, Polsen.is. Láttu græja rúðuna strax í dag.
Country, the most powerful country in the world bombs your city, attacks your city and destroys everything. And you're just thinking, I need to buy food. That is the reality of Venezuela. I don't think we'll be the same here if it happens.
No, definitely not. And this is something that I was discussing earlier. It's a hard reality for us to grasp that you're not able to acquire food. And as is mentioned in all of the literature about Venezuela is that, and it says in a lot of these books, that the only thing that people have to worry about is whether they'll have food tomorrow or even tonight. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a reality that is really hard for Icelandic people to really get their head around. And that's why I think it is easier for us to be angry with this because we're so far away. And we have such a hard time understanding the situation. Probably same thing applies to what is happening in Gaza and with the complications with Israel and the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. I think it's just easy for us to create a easy narrative that we have a one bad person and one good person, and these two are going head to head, and we're hoping that the good person will win. But like you mentioned, when the capital is attacked and your president is taken away, I agree with you. I don't think the first thing we would be thinking about, well, might I get food tonight? So I think that really changes the situation a lot. But we're now coming towards the end. I want to a little bit get your opinion about, of course, you cannot tell what might come out of this situation. But I want to gain a little bit of perspective of how you would paint a bright picture of what is happening. Like, what do you think would be a positive development given the current situation? Is there something that, like, if things are going to go well, how would that look for Venezuela in the next half a year or so?
I think like picturing what will be the scenario is very hard, because as I said, we don't believe anything, and we don't fully trust anyone in the middle of this. So either if this comes like, in the end was the same government who sell Maduro, they are dealing a transition, whatever, or if it's the United States who come with full force and take this under control by their own means, or the opposition that right now is very much non-existent in Venezuela, and this is a big issue right now.
Is that the Juan Guaido?
He right now, that is a big problem with Venezuela. The problem with Venezuela is that we tend to create new heroes all the time. Every 3-4 years comes a new person that is our savior, is our Jesus or Messiah, and we love him. And,
like Hugo Chavez was?
Yeah, and we give all our hopes to him, and then he cannot achieve them, or she, because now it's Maria Corina Machado. And then suddenly, couple years after, that person that you used to love and was your savior, you hate him and despise him. So that's what is going on with, for example, Capriles Radonsky, that was the first people in recent history and tried to establish a very solid opposition against the government. Then happened to Guaido. He's now, I think, in Spain or something. But nobody likes him because he failed to be Jesus. And now with Maria Corina, I have the feeling that it's gonna be the same, because she's taking a position very pro-United States, very pro, intervention, let's say. And again, nobody really wants that for their country. So even
the people who were happy about the Caracas attack.
Like, you need to divide the situation. Like, again, is what I told you. If you cannot celebrate that the dictator is now in jail, but we are worried about how this is gonna work out. So the problem is that since we don't have any solid opposition or opposition movement, I don't know who is gonna be the leader of this. Because if I'm not wrong, Trump said that he don't fully believes that Maria Corina is the right person, and so much going on. So no matter what, because it's what we want to figure out. No matter what, if it's the thing comes, now everybody in the government become good people and they start to help persons, or come an opposition, or America sends an American president. I don't know. The truth is that Venezuela will take a couple years to start to be I will not say a good country or a established country, but a normal country. Because the problem with Venezuela is that all our institutions, all our systems, all our people is very damaged by all of this. Because the problem in Venezuela, and it's what I think people don't understand. The problem in Venezuela is that the government controls the Althingi, the government controls the election system, the government controls the person that counts the votes, the government controls everything. When I just moved here, I always say people, have you ever seen Narcos? Do you remember when Pablo Escobar wanted to be in the government? So, well, that happened in Venezuela, but in Venezuela they become the government. So to fix all of this, and that all the institutions start to work, and that all the people start to have faith in the institutions again, this is going to take I think, a couple years, maybe decades even.
And it's also a circular thing where the institutions, the people have lack of faith in the institutions behave like the people, and then you create a circle of motion where
absolutely.
This never gets fixed.
And that's the issue. Like, I have no doubt that in Venezuela is still incredible person, super capable of taking the country back to where it deserves. But I'm also sure that it's still a lot of people that, has been facing years of, in Venezuela, you survive taking advantage of the other, being the faster, being the worst person, because you can take advantage, like jumping the line to do something, and I'm the best because you are silly and you're following the rules. I don't follow the rules. I will always get the best. So to change this out of the people is hard. I also think, like, for example, I can complain a lot of the education system here in Iceland or in Europe in general, even in the world in general. But in Venezuela, like, imagine what kind of teachers do you find for $2 a month or $3 a month of salary? So I'm also
education sounds like a luxury problem.
Yeah, I'm also very afraid that a lot of kids, they are relying on YouTube or stuff to learn. And I admire so much. I still see, I have friends that are professors in the university, and it's people that still goes to the university to study art. I admire them, like, honestly, in this context. But sadly, no matter the scenario, this will take time. But I do think we have also the resources to be optimistic. Is a word that my best friend told me once, and like his parents went to Venezuela after the war in Europe. They were from Spain, and when they moved, for his grandfather in this case, was very important to keep the Spanish citizenship, like keep everything up to date, because you never know if someday your country goes to a crisis like happened to Europe. And my friend today says, like, the best gift that my grandfather could give me was the Spanish citizenship, because that, with the crisis and everything, allowed him to move with his wife, have their children there, and now they are developing in a better space. So I'm also a believer of that. I think something that I will definitely be eager with my children in the future is that eventually, when a new government is in place and everything, I will do whatever I have to do to give them their Venezuelan citizenship, because you never know. Like 60 years ago, we were better than most of the countries in the world. We were one of the richest countries, one of the countries with the best. We were the country with the best quality of life of Latin America in the 70s.
Monthly payments, I think, on average, were like $3,000 per household.
Yeah,
which was incredible at that time.
We had in the 70s was so common, especially in Miami, like in South Florida in general, was a lot of Venezuelans coming, and was so common the quote that says, "Tá barato, dame dos." It means it's very cheap, give me two. Because when you, like, for real, like people was wealthy. We had a good quality of life, and I mean, has been destroyed in 26 years, but maybe we'll be back in 50 years. Maybe we'll be back in 20 years, and maybe my children will be able to see it. We don't really know, but something that we should not have a doubt is that this that happened is at least a step forward. And I will tell you why. Not because of Maduro. Again, Maduro was a decoy, a guinea pig, whatever you want to call it. The thing is that this lighted hope again in Venezuelans. Because after what happened in 2024 with the elections, where they were stolen, everybody knows it, everybody internationally, worldwide knows it, and nobody did anything. I think everybody lost all of their hopes. Something inside of me broke after that day, because I had faith, because so many things were going on by that time, and you could see so much the faith on people. And then another disappointment. And I think Venezuela was driving to a line of what happened in 2018. Okay, I don't like you, but I just need to work. I just need to try to have a normal life. So I will keep working. And now I feel it's again a light of hope that something can actually happen in the long term.
Well, we can only hope.
Yes.
Omar Rondon, thank you so much for coming. And until next time.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Kannski næsta tími við má gera þetta á íslensku.
Já, það er ekki bara. Ég meina með hvernig þú ert að standa þig í því að læra íslenskuna.
Já, nei, ég veit íslensku.
Hvað er þetta? Er þetta 6 ár sem þú ert búin að vera hérna?
Já, 6 ára og 2-3 mánuða.
Já, nei, ég meina með við það hvað þú ert að læra þetta fljótt, þá held ég að við getum alveg 100% og það er að nóg að taka með við hvað er að gerast í Venezuela, þannig að við munum örgulega gera þetta aftur. Og þá á íslensku. Takk aðeinslega fyrir að koma og þá getur næst.
Má ég segja eitt sérst. Í Venezuela, við alltaf tekum gjöf, við fórum til einhver hús eða eitthvað. Þetta var fyrst í gæinn.
Hvað er þetta?
Maduro on the way in the Iwo Jima.
Gerðið þú þetta?
Ég var að 3D prenta, ég fætta á netinu. Þetta
er alveg magnað maður. Þetta er Maduro sem sagt með vassflöskuna í handjánunum.
Já, endilega.
Og með bundi fyrir augun.
Já, the picture of the year.
Þetta verður á borðinu næstu daga. Það verður einhverju reiður út í mig fyrir að segja þetta. Ómar, takk aðeinslega fyrir að koma og hangta næst.
Takk sem við leist.